From 11:59 p.m. Monday, 4 April, vaccine passes will no longer be required to be used as part of the COVID-19 protection framework. There will be some businesses, events or venues who may still wish to use them for their own reasons, and they can if they wish to do so. We will maintain the systems in place and update the passes over time to include boosters. But for now, they will no longer be mandated. I say for now as I will still provide the same disclaimer that every country realistically must, that should there be a variant that demands it or a change in circumstances, we may need them again. But for post-peak, that will no longer be the case. There's one extra tool in our daily lives that falls into that category too, and that is QR codes. As everyone now knows, we have changed our testing and isolation requirements. The isolation period for both positive cases and household contacts remains at 7 days. While we'll keep that under regular review, there is no plan for us to contact trace more widely, with the exception of high-risk environments like aged residential care facilities or residential facilities for our most vulnerable. That means the reason for using QR codes changes. And so, from this weekend, you'll no longer be required to scan everywhere you go, and businesses are no longer required to provide the mechanisms to do so. We do have an ask for everyone though. If a variant arises in the world that evades vaccines or is more deadly, contact tracing will once again provide a critical role. Please stand ready as business to stand up QR codes again, or as a citizen to pull out your Tracer app at a moment's notice. Don't remove the app from your phone just yet. Scanning has been a really important part of what we've achieved, so thank you for everyone for playing your part. But for now, we can all stop hovering around the entrance to a supermarket or venue while we stumble around on our phones. A welcome change for us all, I'm sure. Finally, as a Cabinet, we've also reviewed the role that vaccine mandates have played. You recall we were always cautious about their use, applying them to education, health, police and defence workforces, border and MIQ workers, and those where vaccine passes were in operation. As vaccination rates increased, we reached out to Professor David Skegan, the Public Health Advisory Group, for his advice on their future use. Their advice was clear, stating, quote, "The case for or against is now more finely balanced. Because of our relatively high vaccination coverage and increasing natural immunity, as well as the apparent lowering of vaccine effectiveness against transmission of the Omicron variant. While vaccination remains critically important in protecting New Zealanders from COVID-19, we believe that several of the vaccine mandates could be dropped once the Omicron peak has passed," end quote. And so on that basis, and in line with the Public Health Advisory Group advice, the Government will not require mandates to be in place for education, police and defence workforces, and those businesses operating vaccine passes from 11:59 p.m. Monday, 4 April. Whether or not these workplaces will continue to need to be vaccinated to do their work will be a decision for their employers or those otherwise responsible for those workforces. We will continue their use for health, aged care workers, corrections staff and border and MIQ workers. The rationale in each case is clear. These are either workers supporting our most vulnerable, or they work in high-risk environments where spread would be rapid or the exposure to new variants is high. In continuing the use of mandates in these limited areas, we did, however, want to ensure they are used carefully. So we've asked for Health to come back with advice on whether the mandates applied in the health sector in particular, which covers thousands of workers, could be narrowed. We know that government were not the only ones also using mandates. In fact, many of the mandate examples I have heard used are those that were applied by the private sector. Given the adjustments we are making today, MB is working to update advice to the private sector